Hi, it's Joy, and today I'm going to be watching The Dragon Prince Season 1, Episode 3, Moonrise, which is when these elves have their greatest power, but they found the dragon egg, and the attack maybe can be averted, considering that they just stole the egg. I definitely am thinking that the mage is the big bad, or the one behind everything that's going on, but we will see. Thank you so much, Albert, for sponsoring this show, and let's go. God, just waiting for the sun to come down, knowing that there's essentially nothing that can be done as soon as it is. Horrific. And this all having the symbolism and feeling like it's, you know, almost a memorial before he's dead. This feels like it's gonna go so well. Oh, great.
I don't know.
You look so happy in this portrait.
So now he does seem concerned about
He
him.
was. Because he knew I would stand by him through anything.
Are you feeling guilty because you caused this?
It's one more thing I can do to convince him.
What are you doing?
If I told you, you would try to stop me.
Is he gonna offer to be the person it's switched
Try to
with?
stop you then, even without knowing?
Maybe he's not an evil man.
Claudia.
Is he? Because, I mean, in the last episode when he kept suggesting it, I was like, then you switch. Oof. The smudged handprint.
This is it? The egg of the Dragon Prince?
I can't believe it.
He's okay in there. I can feel it.
Why wasn't it destroyed?
Because my father saved it.
Claudia!
Tell him, Ezrin, get behind me.
So he is behind it all. Was the king behind it as well? I suppose he might have been.
Save it? He stole it. That's Ezrin. Don't be afraid. Walk towards me. And
I mean,
moves even an
I'd be afraid. Plus, it's probably nearly moonlight, isn't it?
that thing here. It's not a thing.
It's not.
A mother.
Follow me.
Oh.
Don't worry, I won't hit Ez. Fulminous.
You're doing the right thing.
Callum, what are you doing?
The right thing, I hope.
I think it is the right thing too.
Claudia.
But we took a magic ball as well. Because I can kind of understand, if given that so much of what we've learned about everything, it seems like the humans are at such a disadvantage because they don't have access to the magics until they made their own dark magic, and the elven magic and the dragons and everything. So having a dragon on their side or stopping a new dragon on the enemy side, I get that, but also it is a living creature. Oh dear. Jesus! Have you told them to not attack the boys?
There's something after us.
Mm-hmm.
Keep running.
I love how they're just a team now.
That way.
Why not?
Because
Idiot.
it's a dead end.
Oof.
There might be something I can do, but I don't know if I can do it.
Is this a guessing game?
Can you just use her magic using that?
Espero.
Is that just the magic from her bauble thing?
You did it.
You never mentioned you were a mage.
Or is he a mage?
No, I'm not really anything.
You just did magic.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a mage is.
I'm a mage! Shh.
He's a
The
little...
loud mage.
Sorry. I'm a mage.
Oh, children.
I am prepared to do anything to protect the king. Anything. I hope you will understand.
His daughter had a nicer goodbye than this. I love you.
I see the problem now. It's that you believe you are special. Better than everyone else. Above the laws of this kingdom.
That's not what I was trying to say. Please, listen.
Assassins are coming to murder me tonight, and you're wasting what precious time I have left.
No, Harrow.
Stop. How about no, your highness?
He was gonna offer
Yes, your highness, for a
to
change.
give it life for
Are
you.
you sure you wouldn't prefer?
I have tolerated your arrogance for too long.
Fuck.
Maybe even encouraged it. Know your place.
And where exactly is that place?
Right here. On your...
Fuck. He is arrogant. Like, I don't care if you disagree with his plan. You still don't need to, like, lord over him. You're...
are a servant of the kingdom of Katalis.
Yeah, and you're just some random dude that got given the throne.
Servant.
Through circumstance of birth or winning a battle or something. Well, I don't want him to die, especially not for the babies, but fuck the king. Don't like the mage either, but fuck the king.
Raylan.
Mm-hmm.
You defied me.
But the human princes found it, and they're only trying to help.
No. Humans are liars. This is a trick and a trap.
Not all humans, just like not all
She's not a
elves.
fool.
You've made a terrible mistake.
Ez, show him.
Mm-hmm.
We bound ourselves. There's only one way to release.
Ronan, please. There has to be another way. This is a miracle, a chance for.
All this is going to do is make an actual war that never ends.
Justice will not be denied. Now,
Well,
give me the egg.
at least that does hopefully mean we fuck.
Go, but just keep it
I
safe.
was gonna say, at least that means surely now we don't have to kill the prince. Fuck. She really is doing what she believes is right, and the moon is mooning.
Don't do this. I
Jesus.
will kill you.
Well, fun as it would be to turn the twins into snakes, I guess I'll just use the key.
Took it long enough? Oh god.
Keep the egg safe. I'll go talk to the king.
Callum, why don't you just call him Dad?
Because he's the king. And I'm his stepson.
I think he would want you to.
He would.
If you wanted to.
No. What happened to Cam's real dad? But
Be right back.
hide, small child.
You're not stopping me.
You should not be here.
Oh, he's all back in his like angry man bullshit. Did he leave the snake in there? I mean, while these two are fighting, the other three will go and kill the king.
I mean your character.
Well, she's trying to do the right thing, which isn't always the easy thing, and that's what's admirable about this.
You stole the egg of the dragon prince. We found it, and we're keeping it
Did
safe.
the father may have
The
known?
king will have you in shackles when he finds out about this.
What makes you so sure he doesn't already know? Grab him.
But he's the prince.
Do it!
Shout! My god, like, it may do nothing, but shout.
Now,
The king, it's me.
Where is the egg?
I'll call out. I'll scream.
Do it! You should have done it before you said anything. He's definitely not a good guy, and the king, you know, stamping on him did not help. Fuck! That's terrifying. You should have shouted out the minute they started to grab you. One cry is all it would have taken.
This one's not so good at hiding.
I told him that.
That's the last place he should be right now.
Yep.
You impudent little mongrel. You were spoiled. Tonight your world is changing. There is nothing you or anyone
This-
can...
Like, this man has gone from, like, I will sacrifice myself for the king, to, evil villain. It's like temporarily his old affection for the king overtook his evil villainy.
They're here. Defend the doors.
Callum, run. Callum, run. The da noises really sell it. His voice. It's too late, my love. Oh!
Callum, where are you? Callum!
Shouting out isn't necessarily the best. Ugh. You need to protect your little brother. Oof. So much death.
Did you talk with Dad?
Jesus.
Say the word and I'll go back into that tower with you.
We have to keep it safe and carry it to Zadia.
And find its mother.
We could change things. We could make
I
a
hope so.
difference.
I mean,
Just the three of us.
yeah, rude. Show some respect to the leader of this team. Though I do think that once they've assassinated the king, the elves would take it back. But I do think it will be important that they see the human princes being the ones to do it, kind of as like a gesture, even though they're currently trying to assassinate their father and everything there. But I do think that the egg would have been fine. The elves would have returned it to its mother once they
Dad will be
murdered.
okay?
He has the finest guards in the kingdom defending him.
Of course.
You just just have to hope. Oh god, is it done? That means it's done, right? God, is the evil mage gonna see his power? Because you know he survived. Yep. Oh, I'm glad to see you're all looking fine and pretty.
My pleasure.
No. We can find more practical uses for this one.
Yeah,
Tie him up.
she knows what that means.
Something's wrong.
No, it's...
Or was the other one
we
for
just
killing the
don't
baby?
listen.
She wants to keep their hope. Okay, so it would seem the king is dead. I mean, if it turning red and falling off meant they'd failed on the mission, she'd have been like, your father's okay, look, they failed. But no, that means they killed him. Or at least they believe they killed him. Now, I suppose we hadn't seen everything that went down in the throne room. But yeah, there's no way they did the snake transfusion thingamajig, even though we couldn't see the snake anymore. But then we also didn't see the king die, and in a normal show you'd be like, that means he's alive. Then this is a kids show and children might struggle with seeing the dad die, so who knows. But it definitely, I'm going to go with that he is dead, which is very sad, especially the first time Callum called him dad was right before he died. I forgot about the fact that this was more or less a suicide mission. I sort of thought the elves were going to be so powerful that they would just kill everybody in sight and then just leave. But the fact that they all died in the process or were captured does make it seem like more sense that we do need our 3-4. I'm very sorry, leader of the team. Bane, is that his name? I really need to make sure I know my favourite character's name. And the 4 of them being the only ones who can rescue the egg and return it to Zadia does make more sense. Because I was thinking, you know, even if the elves might still want to kill Ezran, so we might have to keep him out of the way or something, they would return the egg, but of course they're not available to return the egg. And maybe, I do think the gesture of the human princes going out of their way to take this journey to return the egg to its mother could go a long way in soothing diplomatic relations there, especially given that they did it on the night their father was being assassinated. Even if they didn't know if it succeeded or not, they could hear the sounds of the battle and see some of the effects of the battle. So from a political standpoint, definitely I think that could be important. Now from a realistic standpoint, I'm like, my god, these 3 children and an adorable lizard man. Lizard man? I don't know why I called him a man. An adorable lizard. I don't think would be like, they have got this, but this is a kids show. Kids are resilient. Plus, you know, we have a mage. I mean, I knew Callum would have to have some kind of skills. He's not very good at sword fighting. I thought maybe it would just be he'd be very knowledgeable, like they'd come across something and he'd be like, oh, I read about this, therefore I know it's this. But I love that he's a mage, and so I'm sure we're going to be exploring what that means and how come he's never realised. Are there many mages in the human lands? Or is it rare? Is it to do with who his father was, who his mother was? Although his mother, I know it was Ezran's mother, but you know what I mean. So, or, yeah. I'm just so intrigued, and I'm so excited to watch where this little trio, this little quadrilateral triangle, I'm so sorry. Like, these little people, there's the 4 of them manage it, and how they go. I do hope at some point this dragon hatches. It kind of has to, like the same way that I was like, well, the egg has to be out there because the show is called The Dragon Prince. And then I'd like to think we're going to get to have a baby dragon in around because I enjoy babies and children. So I am very excited. I think this show, obviously, when you watch it, it's very, very clearly written and created for children. Some of the sort of jokes and gags and things are the sort of things you see in children's TV. But it's also written in a way that there's enough to it that as an adult you can still enjoy it. And I think those are often the best kids' TV shows. Because of course not every kids' TV show has to cater to both, but the ones that hypothetically you could sit down with your child and watch and not just be sitting there being like, kill me now, I think are often the best ones. And they touched on some fairly dark themes. You know, you could see the moment of the band turning red and falling off of her arm and her realising their father is dead. That is quite dark. Now, even if it turns out down the line he's not dead and it malfunctioned, or it was because the leader believed he was dead, or who knows. But you know, that action and her looking at them and realising their father is dead, like the people I trained with have killed him, is a very dark moment for a kids' TV show. It's the sort of thing you could see happen in a show written for adults. And I like that. I like that kind of tonal balance. Like, I don't know that I'd want like very, very young kids to watch this, but again, I don't think it's meant for very, very young kids. I think I'm glad that this is the kind of show that's being written for kids, because get kids into fantasy, get them young, hook them. I don't know, I'm going off track, but kind of what I want to say is that there are some moments and themes that I know kids TV often can go, kids stuff does go a bit scary and dark. It just doesn't ever go quite the full mile, and often it's the sort of thing that when you rewatch it as an older person, you're like, fuck, that was dark. When the first time you watched it, you were like, oh, scary. So I'm intrigued to see how this all goes. I'm very excited to watch the way these characters grow. For Ezran, it's simply, he's a baby, protect him, precious angel child, but also he's very young, and this is his first time experiencing the world. The same thing for Callum. I don't obviously know Callum's backstory too much, where he lived before he was the stepson of the king and everything like that, but for Callum the big thing is going to be for him figuring out that he's a mage and what that means and how much he can do. I mean, he was able to see someone do a spell one time and replicate the rune or whatever and just cast it. That suggests he's quite a powerful mage, which is going to be brilliant in the long run. I imagine will cause him some problems in the short term. Also, he is a big brother and he is on this quest. Now, yes, I do think our friendly elf, I know her name, I'm so sorry, I do think she will be looking out for them, trying to protect them, as she has been, especially when it comes to fighting and everything, but it's a little different when it's like your little brother and it's your job to protect him. You know, your father's last words to you were basically protect your brother. I mean, he thought you were going to a hunting lodge and once he was dead your brother would become, like, get a regent and become king or whatever, but there's a lot of responsibility on very young shoulders here. Similarly with our elf friend, she has essentially betrayed her own, well, she's betrayed her commander, she's gone against her people, and she's gone against her people because of her morals. You know, I thought it was very telling when he said to her, like, oh, I thought you were better than this, like, not your fighting skills but your character or whatever, when actually I think having the strength of character to stand up to somebody that is, I mean, like Dumbledore says, standing up to your friends takes more courage than standing up to your enemies sometimes. But the fact that she was able to say to him, this is wrong, you know, going and just feeling some pointless blood for blood vendetta against someone is wrong. Now, obviously, I don't agree with the humans just casually going and killing a dragon and stealing its egg. That is very wrong. I don't think a retaliatory assassination is the correct response. Maybe in a medieval kingdom type fantasy world. The question would be really why it was done. A question which makes me kind of think the king might not be alive, might not be dead, is the fact that we don't know if he ordered it or not. Like, to this day, we don't know how much he knew, how much he ordered. I think it's likely he could have ordered everything, and I could see it being a case of humans are never going to be able to outpower a dragon, no matter how much dark magic they have. This dragon guarding the path is restricting humans, and if the elves were to ever take it upon themselves to think we're going to go subjugate them or something, they could potentially do it. I mean, it's a lot of high geopolitical politics, which I don't think this show's going to delve overly into, but why they did it is the key thing. Is if it was just the, ha, got ya, like, we're more powerful than you, or it was just the mage wanting the egg. I mean, the king was behind a lot of it because he was like, I brought this on myself or something in the first episode, but if it was more the mage pushing for it, you could definitely see why they would feel guilty about it, or why it would potentially have been done for purely nefarious purposes. Whereas if it was more of a case of fearing that the dragon was going to be used to hurt humans, or it was subjugating humans, you could kind of understand it more, even if, again, murder isn't the right way to do it. It's very interesting. I also don't know what to make of the mage, right? Because I feel like in the first 2 episodes, I was like, child villain. I mean, not a child who's a villain, but like, he's a villain of a kid's show, like, definitely he's the villain. And then as this episode went on, it seemed to me like he was going to go and say to the king, look, I know, I heard what you said about not wanting somebody else to do it, but you're my friend. I will give my life for you. I feel like that is 100% where he was going. He was willing to put everything else aside because of his friendship towards the king. He's really held it dear in his heart that after his coronation, the king wanted him in the painting with him. And then the king was just like, kneel before me, peasant. Oh my god, okay. I get that when you think you're gonna die, emotions are a bit heightened, but that was slightly, like, it really made me be like, I no longer overly care if the king lives or dies. If he's this arrogant, I mean, I did want him to live because of his children, and because I do think overall he seems like a good king. It was very indicative of what kings are like. Even the nice ones often are very arrogant. It's how you are. I mean, if you're in a position where everyone bows to you all the time and calls you your majesty, I mean, let the man speak. Yes, I know he brought the thing and you told him not to, but you know, someone, like, he got mad at him for presuming to say, I'm here as your friend, rather than, you know, like, I'm a king, I don't have friends, I just, whoa, overreaction. And I do feel like that overreaction may well have destroyed any goodness that was lingering in this mage's cold, dead heart. I mean, if the mage was dead, I'd be cool with that, but if the mage is dead, then I think Claudia would step into the villainous role. Again, his children are interesting. His children are ones that I feel like, in terms of their moral compasses, could go either way. Now, the son is just like a bit of a pompous prick. He has not followed his father into magecraft, whether that's because he didn't inherit it or because he wasn't interested, but there's clearly they're a bit at odds there because his father looks down on him for just being a swordsman. Then Claudia is very much mini-me of her father. She respects him a lot and looks up to him, and she knew all about the egg and everything. Now, did she truly believe some kind of thing of, oh, it was for protection for us? It'd be interesting to see where she and her brother go down the line as well. So this was a really good episode. For a kid's show, it's had a lot, I can't speak. For a kid's show, there's been a lot to say, a lot going on with it, a lot of interesting, thought-provoking points. This was a particularly good episode of it, so thank you so much, Albert, for sponsoring this show, and thank you for watching.